I was literally helping an old lady in a wheelchair on the bus like a couple months ago, and I had set my jacket down to do this, and someone came by and stole my jacket and ran away while I was...
Oh my God.
While I was doing like the most Good Samaritan thing you can possibly do. They're just like...
Was it the jacket that got ruined by the pepper spray?
We haven't even gotten to the bad thing that happened yet. So far, it's just been someone...
I'm still mad your jacket got stolen. You're helping an old lady and your jacket got stolen.
Not only was I helping her, I actually shoveled out the bus stop so that she could get on the bus in the first place.
There's a shovel involved?
We're rolling. We're rolling.
This is a real thing. Real thing.
None of you have the balls to stop this. Stop this.
I've got plenty of time. I have nothing else going on today.
We're in the Wedge neighborhood right now.
Welcome back to the Wedge Live podcast. I'm your host, John Edwards. Thank you, everyone, for tuning in to another harrowing personal story. And you may remember Kyle Jones from an earlier episode in the series. He got pepper sprayed using the 311 app. And I ran into Kyle downtown like a week or so ago. And Kyle is kept using the 311 app, and more bad things keep happening to Kyle. And so now he's back to tell part 2 in his harrowing personal story. Kyle, what happened?
Yeah, an update. The original harrowing personal story, I might add. So it's very similar to the last time. So I guess hopefully I can demonstrate some growth, some learning from last time.
Yeah.
So if anyone hasn't heard that episode, they should probably go back and listen to it, but it's going to be very similar. So
previously on Kyle Jones got pepper sprayed using the 311 app.
And I was very polite. Like, I tapped on the window and said, hey, just so you know, I'm just letting you know you can't park here. You're blocking the bike lane. You're blocking the bus stop. And then reaches down into the door pocket of his car and pulls out a huge can of mace. Like, not like a little spray thing, like a big can of mace with like a pistol grip on it, and just blasts me right in the face. And I looked right at it and just got me right in the face.
At that moment, you must have been like, what is he reaching for? Have I made a real bad mistake?
When I realized that it was just pepper spray, there was a little bit of a relief. I was like, okay, I'm not getting shot today. I'm just going to be taught a very valuable lesson. Like last time, there's a guy parked at my bus stop again, and I don't know why, but I always give people the benefit of the doubt, like they're going to do the right thing this time. It's never happened before, but it'll happen this time. And so I just walk up and I tap on his window and I say, hey, this is a bus stop. Like, from there to there is a bus stop. So you can't park here, but you can literally park right up there. There's an open spot 10 feet that way. Of course, as everyone always says, he says, oh, I'll just be here for a minute. I'm picking someone up. Okay. And I could have left it there, but I was like, there's a bus coming literally right now. You can see it pulling up and you're going to be in the way. There's a lot of people at my bus stop that have wheelchairs or limited mobility, and like they can't just walk out into the street to get on the bus. And he was like, oh, they can just go around. It's no problem. In fact, totally different story, maybe for another time, but I was literally helping an old lady in a wheelchair on the bus like a couple months ago, and I had set my jacket down to do this, and someone came by and stole my jacket and ran away while I was...
Oh my God.
While I was doing like the most Good Samaritan thing you can possibly do. They're just like...
Was it the jacket that got ruined by the pepper spray?
Different one. Thankfully, a much less expensive jacket in this case.
Here you are, small town, nice guy, Kyle. These terrible things are happening to you all the time. But let's continue.
Yeah, I know. And by the way, like, I feel like I give the impression that like Minneapolis is this terrible place. All these terrible things are happening to me, but I love living here, So anyone out there who's considering, moving here and thinks that they're going to be scared off by this, like, I promise it's great almost all the time. It's because
Kyle is such a nice, trusting young man. He gets taken advantage of constantly, and he treats people like people, and you really have to get along in this world. You have to treat people like threats. Everyone is a threat. And vote for all of Minneapolis slate of candidates. Everyone is a threat. Fear is always the option. And Kyle is proof that if you go through life trusting people, bad things will happen to you.
Yeah, it's like the wicked thing. No good deed goes unpunished. You know,
Exactly.
If you're nice to people, you don't get nice things in return. No, I don't know. Like it does work out sometimes. I've had cases where like I have someone watch my bike while I go into a store and they don't actually steal it. Shockingly.
But do you find yourself saying, Kyle, you did it again? You trusted someone?
Yes, I do. And that's, I think, the lesson out of this, at least when it comes to these kinds of deals, is just like, report it and move on. Don't even try to like, hey, by the way, just a heads up. Like, it's pointless. They know they're doing the wrong thing. They're not going to move because I told them to. In fact, me telling them to makes them less likely to move.
I feel bad because you're handling things like an adult, like a nice person, and bad things keep happening. I just feel bad that you have to change to accommodate this cruel world, and we can't have more Kyles.
Yeah, or people who just do the right thing. Well, we haven't even gotten to the bad thing that happened yet. So far, it's just been someone.
I'm still mad your jacket got stolen. You're
Okay,
helping
well,
an old
yes.
lady, and your jacket got stolen.
Not only was I helping her, I actually shoveled out the bus stop so that she could get on the bus in the first place.
There's a shovel involved?
There's all kinds of stuff. They didn't steal my shovel, I guess. No, so in this case, after he's like, oh, the bus can just go around, I said, okay, whatever. Like, I'm not going to sit here and debate you. It's fine. I didn't say all this. I was just like, okay. And I opened the 311 app on my phone, as I always do, and I take a picture and, said parking violation, bus stop, hit submit. And he gets out of the car, and he's like, what are you taking a picture of me for? Like, what's the deal? And anyone who knows, especially cyclists know this, if you touch someone's car, they get real angry about it. It's the same thing if you take a picture of somebody. This has also happened to me in the past. Like, you take a picture of someone's car and they lose their mind. What are you taking a picture of me for? And he walks over. He's got like a zip up hoodie thing with like 2 pockets, and he pulls his right hand out just a little bit, just enough so that I can see that he has a gun. And he doesn't take it out or point it at me or anything, but he's just like showing that he has it. And he's like, you have 5 seconds to delete that picture. And this is where I got better from last time, because a younger version of me would have called his bluff and been like, are you really going to shoot me over a picture? I don't think so.
Kyle has learned that
Yes.
people on the street will do all manner of atrocities to you.
Yes. Don't assume that it's not worth it to them, because they'll just do it. So this time I was very much immediately, and I knew in my head, because an important detail is I used the camera in the 311 app. I didn't just use like my regular phone camera. So I knew that picture wasn't in my camera roll. So I'm like, here, take my phone. You can go through my photos if you want to. There's nothing, I didn't take a picture of you. And he doesn't really believe me because it looks like I took a picture of him. And eventually we go back and forth for a while, and he's satisfied or just decided to give up and goes and gets back in his car. And I thought about it for a second, like, okay, survive that one. And I thought, no, this dude basically pulled a gun on me. I'm calling the police. So I dial 911, and as I said last time, I was a dispatcher, so I know how this stuff kind of goes. And I tell him where I am, and there's a guy threatening me. He has a gun. He's still here. And the dispatcher says, you're at a bus stop? I said, yeah, I'm at a bus stop. All right, let me get you over to Metro Transit Police. I'm like, okay, weird detail, but I guess it makes sense. It's like their jurisdiction. And he starts, he knows that I'm, on the phone with 911, and he's shouting out the window, calling me a pussy because I'm calling the police, but not leaving. And eventually he does kind of pull forward, and then it looks like he's pulling away, and I'm like, of course, he's going to be long gone before they ever get here. But he turns around, makes a U-turn, and parks at the other bus stop. So now he's blocking the other one, and gets out of the car. And I'm thinking he's going to come over here and do something. I don't know. But weirdly, there's a car in front of him, and a woman gets out of that car. And then he gets into her car, and she gets into his car, and they both drive away in different directions. And in my naive brain at the time, I was like, that was weird. What was that about? And then talking to my brother-in-law and my dad later, they were like, one of those cars is probably stolen. And probably also what's happening, because my dad was a cop for 26 years. He's like, there's probably drugs or something in one of the cars, and instead of exchanging them in the open where it can be caught on camera or something, they just trade cars, and that's how the exchange is done, and they take off in two different directions.
So Kyle, you were accidentally breaking up a drug deal with your 311 apping.
Yeah, which explains the anger of being photographed.
So in the end, it proves you were wrong. You were in the wrong here. You should always let a drug deal proceed without 311ing them.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know. Like I say, I don't want to like give the impression that the city is so dangerous and we need to spend $10 billion on public safety. But I also feel like if we had more like traffic control and more strict enforcement of like parking violations and moving violations, that I wouldn't have gotten to that scenario in the first place. And of course, it's like my fault because I'm confronting people and I shouldn't confront people and I don't anymore. But it's still one of those things where like, if people knew that parking violations would get them a ticket every single time, they just wouldn't do it, and these scenarios wouldn't come up. So I don't know. If there's one thing I want out of this, it's just, more strict traffic control. And I'm very excited, different topic, but very excited for like the red light cameras and speed cameras that are coming in for exactly this kind of reason.
Well, you say you've learned your lesson, Kyle, and you won't do it again, but then we won't be able to do a part 3. Like, imagine the hijinks you could get up to if there was a part 3.
That's a good point. I hadn't considered that. I'll have to just, come up with some more risky maneuvers to take to get myself back on the show. Can I just say, I feel like there's a conspiracy happening here, because you've got me on talking about this, and you've also got Taylor on talking about being assaulted in Loring Park. I think this is just like anti-Loring Park propaganda to get people to move to the Wedge instead.
I think so. Something's happening in Loring Park, you have to admit. I don't know. And I feel like we're doing damage to Katie Cashman's campaign in Ward 7 by just painting the darkest picture of Loring Park here. But it's not Katie Cashman's fault. This is Mayor Fry's fault. He's in charge of the police.
Exactly.
Our fully funded police department. So was Metro Transit police helpful? I had the opportunity, or not the opportunity, I never want to have the opportunity to interact with the police, but like I did interact with the Metro Transit police on the phone in the past couple of months, and like seemed sincerely interested in helping me resolve the problem. So in this case they didn't show up. I was going somewhere, so I wasn't going to wait around for them to show up. Although in hindsight, they asked if I wanted like a follow-up, and in my head I assumed that would be like an in-person thing. But what I should have asked for is like, can they at least call me back later and just let me know? Because they may have caught like I gave them the license plates and stuff. They may have caught one or both of these people, but I'll never know, because they asked if I wanted to follow up and I said no. So I have no idea what actually ended up happening. You could testify, and then we would have our part 3. You would be intimidated out of testifying because you're a good citizen who will always do your civic duty.
Yes, I will show up and go into witness protection and all that stuff.
My question is, why didn't you contact me when your jacket got stolen?
Yeah, I guess I'll have to keep you on speed dial now for all the bad things that happened to me.
You could have your own Wedge Live podcast mini-series, just things that are happening to Kyle.
Yeah, have, in addition to harrowing personal stories and Loring stories, just have Kyle's stories. Obviously, in this case, it was a little dangerous, right? I'm not saying that I want people to have firearms brandished at them. But there is a small part of this that is like, to me, the joy of living in a city is like, there's always new things. There's always stories to tell of crazy stuff that's happening. Hopefully not necessarily to you, but around you. Because, when I lived in Edina or out in rural Minnesota, like nothing ever happened. Things are always the same all the time.
I would have left the bus stop. I would have left the bus stop is what I would have done as soon as the gun got flashed. Kyle, Mr. Tough Guy, you seem so nice and unassuming, but really you are just ready for action at any moment. You will stay, you love transit so much, you will stay at that bus stop as the man who flashed a gun at you is menacing you the whole time. I'm waiting for my bus.
I did like in my head take note of like how calm I felt, which I knew wasn't like, I shouldn't be calm about this. But I was like checking the transit app and seeing, because I missed my bus. It went by during this whole thing. So I'm like checking the transit app for like the next bus, or should I walk to the orange line or something, and then decided to call 911. I think, to me, I don't know if this makes any sense at all, but because I knew that I didn't do anything wrong, like in the pepper spray case, like it was kind of my fault. I was escalating that situation. And I didn't think, escalating this situation by taking a picture. So like in the pepper spray instance, or any time when I like am a little bit too confrontational, like then I get really like jittery and nervous. But because in this case, it was like, I have done nothing wrong, and I am totally like, here, look at my phone. Like I'm not a threat to you. That made me feel a lot less nervous about the whole situation. I don't know why, but it did.
Kyle for mayor. Kyle Jones for mayor. Ice water running through his veins. I would follow Kyle anywhere.
My coworkers always make fun of me because they say that I'm going to run for mayor one of these days.
Oh, really? Do you have ambitions in that direction?
I don't think so. I don't think I would be very good at that because I don't have the patience for people. I guess neither does Mayor Fry, to be fair, but like, I just want what I want, and I don't really, like, I don't have time to sit in, like, community engagement meetings and listen to people complain about parking, Like, the first time that happens to me, I would just shut down and just be like, I hate all you people, and leave.
Oh, I don't think so. I think you've proven yourself over multiple instances of being pepper sprayed, a guy flashed a gun at you at a bus stop. I think you have what it takes. The perfect resume for park board, I think, is the experiences you've had.
That's a good point. That's fair. I'll run against Jordan.
So what shocked me after the last time you were on is people kept bringing up your cat, the cat with no name.
He's been here, ready to make his appearance. Yes, I was very surprised at the reaction that people had to hearing that he has no name. That really went over well, I saw in the comments. Exactly what I was hoping for, like 13 years ago when I gave him his no name, was to get that kind of reaction out of people.
And I'll be honest with you, Kyle, I'm not always listening terribly closely to my guests during these conversations. So I didn't even hear that you said your cat had no name. That's like, people are bringing up your cat with no name. Like, what do you mean his cat has no name? That completely went over my head. So that will give you an idea how closely I'm listening.
Yeah.
To people.
Well, you got to focus on, having a nice, line of questions for me. I guess short backstory on that is like, I always want to have like a funny name for my cat. Like, I don't want to give him a regular name like Spot or something. And I couldn't think of anything funny. And so I thought the funniest possible thing is to have to explain why he doesn't have a name. And that worked out perfectly. So I got the exact reaction I was looking for.
I met someone else on a bike ride with a cat with no name, and they had not listened to this podcast episode. I tried to arrange, I was like, oh, give me your email. Like, we got to have you on. You could be like another person with a cat that has no name, and I never contacted them. Maybe I will. Maybe just do a series of people who are too lazy to name their cats.
Yeah, maybe. If you can get the guy with the two cats on his shoulders to come on the show, that would be awesome.
Does that guy ride a bike around with cats on his shoulders?
Yes, that's the guy. I knew his name at one point, but I forgot it. But I think most people, I don't know, maybe some of the people listening will have seen this guy, know who I'm talking about. On a bike, always two cats on the shoulder.
Kyle, are you a delegate to any of the upcoming conventions?
I am. I'm a delegate for Ward 7. I'm not a delegate for the city because I'll be out of town for that convention. I'm also on the credentials committee for Ward 7, which is more interesting than I would have anticipated, because there's a lot of challenges to the way the caucuses were run. And so I get to rule on, me and some other people get to rule on various challenges and get to rule on, next week have to go through all of the books that everybody signed and validate people's addresses and validate that data was entered correctly so that we actually have the right number of delegates. So it should be fun.
There's nobody I trust more than Kyle to do the right thing in a stressful situation. So I'm glad that you have a role here. You're showing leadership in the DFL. Maybe you can get things under control. Things are out of control in the DFL process. Going to court. The Minneapolis DFL chair resigned. Threats of lawsuits all around. Good luck to you, Kyle. This is the most harrowing experience you will have yet, is being on the credentials committee.
Yeah, especially, I mean, you should be glad that I'm on there because the precincts are not evenly represented. I will just say that the Kenwood, Lowry Hill types are very overrepresented on the credentials.
Oh, really? Imagine that. When in the history of Minneapolis have Kenwood and Lowry Hill been overrepresented?
Yeah, exactly. So it's the deck is stacked against us in some ways. So maybe that might wind up in another harrowing personal story when I wind up in some kind of scuffle at the credentials committee meeting.
Make sure there's a weapon involved at the convention. Make sure somebody uses a weapon on you. That's what I want.
Yeah, exactly.
Scott Graham and a knife. That's what I want. Menacing you in the bathroom with a knife.
Scott Graham is on the credentials committee with me, so that is entirely possible.
Of course he is. Well, Kyle Jones, thank you for once again sharing your harrowing personal story with us. I feel like the audience will be educated and they will have warm feelings towards you as a nice, trusting small town boy who came to the big city and got taken advantage of multiple times and hopefully has finally learned his lesson.
Hopefully.
This has been the Wedge Live podcast. I'm your host, John Edwards. Thank you for listening.
This is a real thing. Real thing.
None of you have the balls to stop this. Stop this.
I've got plenty of time. I have nothing else going on today.
We're in the Wedge neighborhood right now.